Jackson. Hi, I'm Harry Scott. Dr. Conway mentioned I could find out more about the Million Veteran Program by coming down here.
Good morning, Mr. Scott. Thanks for coming in today. Have a seat. I'd be happy to tell you about the Million Veteran Program, or MVP as we call it.
As I said, Dr. Conway mentioned it to me and said it would help scientists learn about genes and health. Sounded like an easy way to help out my fellow vets, but I don't really know much about the specifics. Can you tell me how it works?
Of course. Let me tell you a little bit about the program before getting into all the details.
That would be helpful, thanks.
Participation in MVP involves a few steps, which include donating a blood sample for future genetic analysis, filling out surveys through the mail, permitting access to your medical record on an ongoing basis, and allowing future contact.
Sounds easy enough. Can I go ahead and donate the blood sample today?
Yes, but before collecting your blood, we need to complete the informed consent process. This includes reviewing the consent form and HIPAA authorization. These will help you to fully understand what is involved in participating. If you agree to volunteer, this whole process will take about 20 minutes.
Sure, sounds good.
Feel free to stop me at any time if you have questions, okay? MVP is a national research program to learn about how genes, lifestyle, and environment affect our health. As you may know, genes are passed down from one generation to the next and contain DNA, the information that determines the structure and function of our bodies. In combination with our environment and lifestyle, genes influence our risk for developing disease. Our genes also explain why some people respond to certain treatments or medicines and others don't. We'll use the information we collect from MVP for research on health conditions that affect veterans. And our ultimate goal is to improve veterans' health care.
That's fascinating.
The only requirement to participate is that you're registered to receive health care at the VA, which you do, and that's why Dr. Conway told you about the program. Keep in mind that participation in MVP is entirely voluntary. Your decision about participating will not affect your access to VA health care or benefits.
Okay, so I give you a blood sample, and what else did you say was involved?
There are just a few easy steps. If you agree to volunteer, first you'll sign the informed consent form and HIPAA form. Then you'll donate about 2 teaspoons of blood. The blood sample you donate will remain in the VA Central Biorepository forever, or until it's used up, or you withdraw your participation. This sample may be used for many different approved studies and research. We also ask that you complete a short baseline survey. This can be done at your home and returned in the mail. This survey collects basic information about you, such as demographics, military experience, and medical and family history. You'll also receive a lifestyle survey in the mail, which collects additional information on health, exercise and dietary habits, and military and environmental exposure.
So basically, I just need to donate my blood sample and complete the surveys. Is that right?
That's right. Now, it's also important to know that by choosing to participate in MVP, you are allowing approved MVP staff to securely access your VA electronic medical record. Your blood sample and medical information will be made available to approved researchers in the future. You are also agreeing to future contact about participating in additional voluntary research.
Well, why do I need to fill out surveys when you have access to my medical record? Isn't that information already in there?
That's a great question, Mr. Scott. Some information we ask in the surveys may not be in your medical record, such as your family history or military exposure. Also, the information in your record may not always be up to date, like your current health status. We'll use the information you provide in the surveys in combination with the data from your medical record to give researchers a more complete picture of your health. Your data may actually be used for many different approved studies in the future.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I see there's a section on risks. What kind of risks are we talking about?
Let's go over potential risks for participating in MVP. Basically, the risks of donating a blood sample are the same as when you have blood drawn at your doctor's office. This includes pain, bleeding, bruising, and rarely infection at the site where the needle is inserted. Fainting or lightheadedness may occur, but these things seldom happen.
Well, I've never experienced anything like that when I've had my blood taken, so I'm really not worried about that happening.
Now, another potential risk to consider, you could discover new information about family health conditions from filling out the surveys, which could be troubling. Also, research results that are published in the future may show some groups have genetic predispositions to certain diseases, and you may learn that you're at an increased risk of developing a disease. Finally, as with any electronic system, there is a slight risk of a security breach. However, VA will make every effort to protect your confidentiality and information.
Is there any chance that this information would get back to my employer?
Well, there may be a risk that genetic information obtained in research could be used to discriminate with regard to a person's health insurance or their job. However, as part of your participation in MVP, VA will not disclose your genetic information to health insurance companies, group health plans, or employers. In the rare event of a security breach, there are state, federal, and VA protections that prevent health insurance companies, group health plans, and most employers from discriminating against you based on your genetic information.
Well, how will you protect my information? Will the researchers know who I am?
That's an important point I want to review with you. Your information will be stored electronically in the VA Central Research Database. Your blood sample and survey data will be coded with a study number. This number will not contain your name, date of birth, social security number, or any other identifiable information. Also, your information will be stored according to VA's information security policy. This just means that your data will remain in a secure VA system and will not be publicly available.
So a lot of steps are taken to protect my information. Will anyone know that I have participated?
We don't put any information in your medical record about participating in MVP. Also, only a few authorized VA employees will have access to the key that links the study number to your identity. Your identifiable information will only be shared if MVP receives requests from regulatory or oversight agencies. Now, to further protect your privacy, VA received a certificate of confidentiality from the National Institutes of Health. This means that researchers cannot be forced to share information that could identify you, even if required by a court order.
That's good to know. So, can I receive information about my genes or health by participating?
At this time, testing on your sample will be done for research purposes only. Therefore, individual genetic test results will not be returned to you or your doctor. Any other questions?
Well, will I get paid to participate?
If you decide to enroll in MVP, you will not be paid to participate, and unfortunately, we are unable to reimburse you for travel. But you also won't be charged for any procedures that are part of MVP. Your blood sample will be used for research and won't be sold. Now, it's possible that discoveries from this research could lead to new tests, drugs, or other products. It's important to point out that VA cannot share any profits from these discoveries with you.
Okay, well, I'm just happy to be helping.
That's great. It's also important to know that if you're injured as part of participating in this research, VA will provide medical treatment for your research-related injury at no cost to you. You don't give up any of your legal rights, and you don't release the VA from any liability by signing this consent form.
All right. Hey, one last question. You mentioned something about withdrawing from the program. What if I decide I don't want to participate down the road? How do I get out of it?
You can change your mind about participating in MVP at any time. This choice won't affect your access to VA healthcare or benefits. To leave the program, you can sign and submit the MVP withdrawal form, or you can provide a request in writing. If you withdraw from MVP, your sample will be destroyed. However, coded samples already sent to researchers cannot be destroyed. No further health information will be collected after we receive your request for withdrawal.
I don't see that happening, but it's good to know.
Well, lastly, if you ever have any questions about your rights as a program participant, or you want to make sure this is an approved VA project, you may contact the VA Central Institutional Review Board. Do you feel you understand everything we just discussed about participating?
Yes, you've covered all my questions, Ms. Jackson.
Okay, well, I can give you an opportunity to think about participating, and you can come back if you'd like.
No, I understand what's involved, and I'm ready to enroll.
You will need to sign the informed consent form, and then I will review the HIPAA authorization with you.
Okay, great. I'm excited to join MVP.
The Million Veteran Program is a national research program funded entirely by the Department of Veterans Affairs, Office of Research and Development. The goal of MVP is to build a database of information to help researchers better understand how genes, lifestyle, and military exposure affect veterans' health and illness. If you have questions about your rights as a program participant, or to ensure this is an approved VA project, you may contact the VA Central Institutional Review Board toll-free at 1-877-254-3130. If you have questions about this research program, you should contact the MVP Information Center toll-free at 1-866-441-6075.